So part 2 of the video, we were on this, we were looking at, we've opened an image up in Bridge and we have seen this over here which is called background, and what this means is that this is a flattened image. It hasn't got any layers to it, and I can't do anything to this layer because it's flat. I can move it to another page, it's fine. To make that into a layer, I just double click and go OK. Right, so it's ready. Now I can move it around if I want to. And this is nothingness. This grid at the background is what nothingness looks like in Photoshop. So we've got our image. We'll pull down the tab, and if I want I can drag it and drop it. I'll minimize that. So that's our original file is still open. That is the file that's saved on our camera. Minimize. Control and T, just to recap, to transform. Finger on shift while resizing, otherwise I get a squashed chicken. You'll never be able to put it back manually. If I did that and I think, oh, I don't like that, I can not double click here, but I can reject my action. This shows me that there's an action on at the moment. I'm doing something. If I reject my action, I go back. Or you could do your Control and Z. But while I'm in the middle of a transformation, I can't use anything else. These are all grayed out because it's only dealing with me resizing. We have an image here, and now we begin to see the layers. Double click to accept. You see that the layers are building up. If I save this, it'll save as a PDF or Photoshop file. If I flatten it so that they're stuck together, layers and flatten image, they'll become glued together. If I press save now, that's it glued together forever. But you still have your original files down here. Control and Z to undo. Right. These little symbols here allow us to see it or make it disappear. I can delete layers by simply pressing delete on the keyboard. For this, I'm thinking when it goes to sienna type, I want it right to the edge because I'm going to have paper that's feathered. It's going to be paintbrushed on. So I want this to go to the edge on my acetate or my tracing paper. So we'll quickly look at what these look like. Again, because I'm so vain, I want to look at myself. This is our image. I change this to color, or change it from color to black and white. Right. Very simply done. You go to Image, Adjustments, and Desaturate. Control, or Shift, Control, and U. Desaturate means take away the color. Saturation has to do with to fill something with too much liquid. So there's too much color in it. Okay? We're going to desaturate it. It becomes black and white. So we see the image. Lovely black and white. The photographer here chose an image with lots of contrast in it. We can see that. To increase the contrast, which we'll have to do in a second, we will go into Image, Adjustments, and Levels. You can just do a shortcut of Control and L. And this will give us this curve. We can change, make the darks darker, makes the whites lighter. We begin to see high levels of contrast now. It's up to you how far you want to push that. So, we've adjusted, we've got our nice contrast image, and then we invert. So we change it to a negative. Black and white photography is based with negatives, which you'll be doing later on in the year. It's a negative image. It's the opposite. When we do this in color, it's a completely different effect. But we're just dealing monotone, two tones, right? Black and white. Control and I to invert. And it then becomes the opposite. Next thing that we will be doing is we will be printing this onto paper. So like we had with this, We'll print it onto paper, and then when I've got all those collected in, or your teacher got them all collected in, we will put them onto tracing paper, which is similar to this, is the fact that the light can pass through. Right? We can sometimes just use this, because when we go down to the exposure unit, the light will be blocked out. It has a different effect, right? So we've got 3 different options for how we do our exposure. And then we'll have our resulting cyanotype once it's been washed. You need to now, on Photoshop, understand how to save your work. So this is my A3 page originally, or my A4 page, set at 300 pixels per inch. I titled it as Nature. I then brought an image across. I inverted it, or desaturated it first with image adjustments and desaturate, and then I inverted it with Control and I. I could reverse that and go back. I also changed the levels, so image adjustments and levels, or Control and L. Sorry. And that allowed me to change the various tones in my image. I could change it again if I want to put a bit more into it. So for saving, always go File and Save As. And then you select where you want to save your image. You'll be either saving to your memory stick or onto your H drive. So your H drive is listed over here. You'll have a separate one. You got some space on there. Then your image is saved, and to print it for this project I want you to go File, Print, or Control P to speed it up. We've got 2 different types of printers that we print on plain paper. We've got the black and white, which is this one, the BW. This is a very grainy, pixelated printer. What I'd like you to do is to print it to the color printer, which is also, if you see here, it's got the names of the room within it. The color printer is going to be the Canon one, or you can which is in the Creative Arts large space, or you can send it to the color one in the back of the room here. So your classroom would be B223, or if you teach in the other room, B225, or you can send it to the photocopier inside. So we'll send it to here for the moment. To save your money, if you go to Print Settings, if you then go to Color and you change Print to Grayscale, because you're printing to a color printer, but you've told the printer it's only going to be printed in black and white, it'll only charge you 2 pence. If you print A4 color and you don't tell the printer that it's just black and white, it'll charge you 20 pence. All the printers can be changed. So LaserJet is for plain paper, where you don't supply the paper, it just comes out normally. Once you've printed that, then we're ready to put onto tracing paper and then do our exposure in the exposure unit downstairs.